Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to cover what's better known as a plugin, and that is Color Effex Pro, and basically how you can with three simple adjustments how you can make vast improvements to your images. This it would have been a way that I would have worked initially, but now as you go on in photography, your workflow changes. But for the people out there who I guess looking to know how and where is the best software for editing, this is a very simple way of making vast improvements to your image very quickly. So I have 5 images here. I might just edit maybe 3 of them. I want to try and keep the video to about 10 minutes. So the first one we're going to look at is this one here. And we'll just have a look in the develop module, and we'll just make very small adjustments here. My workflow would have been I use Lightroom as a library to view my images, select them, make just a few basic corrections. Mainly would be pulling back the highlights. The highlights are fine, but I always find when you're going to push an image, push the tones in an image, it's always good just to bring it back ever so slightly. That gives you more to play with. White balance is probably the only other thing I might look at, so I always check an auto. I was happier with the other one, I think. So at this point I can either go back to as shot, or I can do an auto and just cool it down marginally. So that image is ready to go into Photoshop. Right click, edit in Photoshop. As I say, I'm just going to use one program, Color Effex. It's a plugin by when I started using it, it was by Nick. I think DxO have now taken it over. So it's under Filter, Nick Collection, Color Effects. So basically we're just going to make 3 simple adjustments. Just make sure I'm running fairly fast. So the first adjustment I am going to make, so you have all these different sections, and they have changed this recently. There used to be a landscape section, but that's gone. So I'm going to use the graduated neutral density, and basically this is just like using a grad out in the field. So if you can just see what that's done, so it's darkened the top. So it's darkened the top by 25%. That's taking it all the ways down, so you can see where the filter is there on top. So I'm just darkening this top marginally. The lower tonality is basically you can adjust the brightness on the bottom. It can be a very, very handy tool. So I'm just going to adjust that marginally. So there's the adjustment. So we've thrown just a little bit more light in here, and we've darkened the background down slightly. I'm going to add another filter. So you click add filter. If you don't click add filter and you go over here and you make another adjustment, you lose this one. So click add filter. I'm going to add a little contrast. So pro contrast. And we just bring up the dynamic contrast, and you can see what it's doing to the image. Again, you can use this to your own liking. So I'm just going to pull the slider, correct the contrast, and adjust the color. We'll have a look at the color. That's a bit cooler, it's a bit warmer. I think I like the cold feel. So that's that adjustment. And we're going to make one more adjustment, and we're going to add another filter, and we're going to add, this time it's under the wedding section, and we're going to add darken, lighten, center. So basically what the darken, lighten, center does, I'll just turn on and off the filter. It's like a vignette, and it just helps draw the eye. So the outside, the border, is taken down by 50%, so it's darkened. So it's just basically like a vignette where you have control. So I'm going to place the center on there. You can brighten the center. That's taking it down. Just brighten it by a small bit. So basically, with a few clicks, just show that adjustment. That's made it huge. So that's directed the light on the stack. And that's done. So just a couple of adjustments. Just let that render. So there you go. Very, very simple and quite effective. So we'll just go in, we'll edit a couple more. Boom, boom, boom. Just have a look at this image. So this is an image I shot below in Dingle on Capit Beach. I'm just doing my corrections. White balance, auto. Auto's a bit cool. Just warm it up marginally, and I'll bring back the highlights. It's this area over here is trouble, and just open the shadows slightly. I'll take it into Photoshop, edit in Photoshop. Again, I'm going to go through the same process. Open in Photoshop, filter, Nik collection, Color Effects, and we're going to use the same 3 filters. I'm just going to go in here, graduated filter. Okay, so the same settings have applied there. That's unusual. Just get rid of them. So graduated neutral density. Okay. So basically, I'll just make a hard transition out of this. So you have the blend. So the blend basically is the softness of your transition. So we'll just take down that so you can see it. So basically you have a hard grad there. The blend is the transition between here and there, top and bottom. The more you take it to the right, the softer the transition. Vertical shift is how far you can pull it down. So you have quite good control. So it comes in at kind of default -25. So we'll just make a soft grad out of this. And so I'll just throw a little bit more light into the foreground. So the beauty about working like this is you can adjust both the top and bottom of your picture. And what you can create is a nice separation and give your image a more three-dimensional feel. So I'm happy with that adjustment. We'll add a filter. We'll add Pro Contrast, and we'll take up the dynamic contrast. So a little bit of dynamic contrast and correct as the blacks. So I like this here, but I don't like it up in the sky. So the beauty about color effects is it allows you to take away effects where you don't like them. You can also put them back. But over here on the right, you have a plus and a minus. So they're control points. So if we take a minus control point and we say we don't like the adjustment that we've made up here, and we add a minus control point and we adjust the size of it, so that has taken away the contrast effect from here. So say for instance, so we can work our way along the sky and we can set minus points where we don't like that adjustment, where it's a bit too heavy. Vice versa, you can add points. So by adding a point, it adds it to the area, only to the area you want it in, and it takes it away from everywhere else. But I prefer just to work this way. A bit dark up there. Just make sure we get all that. So you can see that effect has been taken off. And now we're going to add our vignette, our dark and lighten center. And we're going to put the center here. That's where I want the viewer. And we'll just take down the border so you can see what that's doing. This is the size of the center. So this is the size of it. So basically how big our point is. So again, I like this, but it's darkened up there. So I'm going to take away the effect up there. I'm going to leave it there. So again, you can adjust how much you want to take away. And if we do before and after, so that's made dramatic improvements in just a few clicks. And again, that image is going to come in here. So the beauty about Nik Color Effects is it comes in on a layer, and you can brush out the effects if you want them to as well after. I'm not going to cover that now in this. So we'll go into Lightroom, and we will have a look at. We'll have a look at this image. Lens correction. White balance. I think it was actually okay where it was. I'm happy with that. I like the warmth. So we'll edit in Photoshop. As I say, this would have been my workflow. Unfortunately, I don't work like this anymore. I think as you get along, just the before and after, as you get along, so I'm just going to close that down, and I'm just going to close that one down. I want Photoshop to work a little bit faster. As you get along, so filter in your workflow, you'll develop different ways of, you're changing, you're improving all the time. The same way as we're taking photographs differently as well. We're seeing things differently. Same process. So I just want to delete those because I just want to make different adjustments, different settings. So architecture, graduated neutral density. So it's already applied a darkening effect to the top. So I want to make a more of a, we'll have a look at a stronger line. So we just make it and shift. So okay. So I just basically I've emulated a hard grade across the top. So that's gone down by 34%, and we're going to brighten the bottom. So that does look a little bit unbalanced. So I'm going to reduce the top a little before and after. So we now have more light in here, which is what I want. Add filter, Pro contrast. Give this a good blast. Okay. I might take down the effect ever so slightly in the sky. So we'll reduce it by, we won't take down altogether. We'll leave maybe 20% of it there. So if you press Alt, it produces this little plus sign. So you press Alt and you can duplicate that adjustment. We will add another filter and we'll go to weighting, dark and light and center. And I want to throw the eye in here. So what's it done? Yeah, so it has done that. So we place the center roughly here. So now the viewer is looking down here. You can go back in and you can adjust any of these. That's too dark. Might take away the effect just there. So I'm just going to take away the effect in the corner. I'm just going to lighten it. I'll take it away actually. So just a quick before and after. Yeah, so that's made a huge improvement. Click OK. And that comes back into Photoshop, comes back in a layer, and you can make more adjustments if you like. So as I said, this would have been my workflow. I said I'd share it with you because I think for people getting started, it's a great way to make good impact on your images very quickly. I think it takes all the frustration out of where do you start, what to do, and it gives you a good idea of maybe how you might want your images to look, especially when you're out photographing, and you can develop from there basically. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it's not too long. I haven't taken any notice of the time now. So yeah, that's me finished. I would do more refinements in here now, just to bring out the detail here. But for the minute, in these videos, I'm just going to concentrate on plugins and how we can use them. I think software is like your camera. The more you know about it, the more you understand it, the better use you can make of it. So I also use Luminar, I use Viveza, I use Silver Effects. So I think over the coming videos I'm just going to do little edits with those, and hopefully they'll give you an idea on your workflow and what you can create. So yeah, thanks for looking everybody, and stay safe.